Are Lamar's Ravens contenders or pretenders?
Big dog, I've been telling you this one, they're pretenders, and it's actually impossible to try to find a way to reason them into contention. I tried. I spent an hour this morning trying to say, how can I convince myself that the Ravens are, in fact, contenders? Maybe they've beat a lot of playoff teams. No, they're 2-4 versus playoff teams. Okay, let me think about their big wins this season. They beat the Browns week 1 with the Browns' first-year head coach in his first game as a head coach in a new organization. Maybe they beat the Chiefs. No, they didn't beat the Chiefs. Surely they beat the Steelers. No, they didn't beat the Steelers. Maybe they beat the Titans and avenged their loss from the playoffs last year. No, they didn't do that. Okay, maybe they haven't been on any bad losing streaks. Like, well, they've lost 3 games in a row. Maybe they beat Sale. I'm out. I've been out. I tried to find ammo. I tried to find ammunition. I tried to reason my way due to my affinity and my love for Lamar Jackson into making them contenders. Fact of the matter is, they're not. Their record, their wins versus non-divisional opponents. Let's talk about that record. 20-27-1. Who have they beat, Marcellus, Wiley? The Bengals, the Texans, the Eagles. Like, who do you have to sit here and say, yeah, these Ravens is contenders, all right? No, they have not done anything. If you're talking to me, Sel, about the Ravens the first 6 weeks of the season, I'd be like, I bet they're contenders. If you're talking to me about last year's Ravens, I'd be like, yeah, they contenders. But if you're talking to me about these Ravens right here, right now, they're not contenders. In football, you are either getting better or you are getting worse. You, Marcellus Wiley, reassured me of that just a few weeks ago. Your words, not mine. The Ravens are getting significantly worse, not contenders at all.
Oh, man, they are contenders. And you said it took you an hour to come up with nothing. You should have kept looking, and you should have called your boy. Oh, you can't call me because I told you until you show up in studio and dress like an adult and be a professional, I don't want to talk to you on the phone. And that's what happens. But you got to be greater than your greatest excuse, Acho. And an hour is not long enough for you to look at this team for what it is. What you have just listed was the schedule team by team in your own order. But let's sum all of that up, Acho. You know what I heard? That the Ravens have played the toughest overall schedule in the NFL. Oh, did I say that? Yeah. Did the Ravens play that? Yeah. How about this going forward? The Ravens have the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL. Did I just say that? Yeah. Are the Ravens going to play those type of teams? Yeah. They're going to play bottom half defense, especially pass defense teams going forward as they start off tonight against the Cowboys. So look at the Ravens for all of who they are. This is a team that has underachieved in terms of expectations in the win-loss column. But I think that they're trying to reconfigure a formula for success in the postseason, which means they're going to travel a different direction to that same postseason. And if you look at them right now, December, when winning football matters most, how you finish the season and go into the playoffs hot, let's look at this team, especially its MVP, its unanimous MVP from last year. Look at them in December. This is their record, 8-1. Oh, Lamar Jackson doesn't lose in December just one time. Touchdown to interception ratio, rushing yards per game, and passer rating, all great numbers. This is a team that's hitting its stride and is going to hit its spot right now because of the time of year. How is that irrelevant?
That whole full, please remove the full screen. Remove the full screen.
No, I got to go somewhere then. Let's go.
This whole year, Lamar Jackson has undermined all of his success from previous years. Lamar Jackson, prior to this year, he only loses to the Chiefs. You know that as well as I know that.
Yeah,
he loses to the Chiefs and he loses in the playoffs.
Cleveland, yeah.
This year, dude lost to the Titans again. Dude lost to the Steelers twice. Dude lost to the Chiefs again. Like, don't tell me about the history of Lamar Jackson when this year has proven all of those great numbers we used to be able to fall back on for Lamar Jackson. We can't fall back on those numbers anymore. You're showing me archaic stats. And the reason they're archaic is because in the NFL, things change week after week, and they for sure change one year after the next. Stop using those black and white full screens, sir.
Oh, wow. You want to go there? Okay, well, since you want to try to nitpick, they didn't lose to the Steelers twice. They only played them once. So they only lost to the Steelers once. You're already lying to America. Second of all, if you look at this team.
They lost to the Steelers twice this year, sir.
Lamar.
They lost last week.
Lamar. Who was on the MVP? Who's on this? The
We're
real
talking
MVP.
about the Ravens.
My
the
full
Ravens,
screen
the Ravens,
says the real MVP. Who's leading this team, Acho? Come on, baby. Stay specific with me, brother. It takes more than an hour to dig into these details. Here's the thing about this team. This is a team that looks at Lamar Jackson, says, you know what? We still got that defense, Lamar Jackson. You know what we carry in terms of defensive production. Ravens, right now, third in scoring defense with the second rushing attack with Lamar Jackson at the quarterback position. You got to understand that they've been rocked by COVID as well. They have not lived up to expectations in terms of hype, but in terms of trying to figure out a winning formula, they're in the lab right now. And since you have the Cowboys sitting there right there on your plate, it's time for the Ravens to eat. Let's bring in somebody who understands where I'm coming from, who spends a little more time on his prep than an hour. Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. So, Greg, are Lamar's Ravens contenders or pretenders?
This one was a tough one for me because I like the Ravens a lot defensively. I do not like them offensively, but because of who they are, I would say they are contenders.
Hey!
They are contenders because of their schedule, their remaining schedule. And when you look at their remaining schedule and you look at the teams, what they can't do, these teams aren't run-stopping teams, and this is what favors the Baltimore Ravens. This is who they are. This is a front-running team. This is a team that likes to get leads and likes to be able to stay within their offensive scheme of running the ball with Lamar Jackson and this plethora of running backs that they have behind this offensive line. If you get a lead on this team struggles. They don't throw the ball well when they're down, when they're forced to do something outside of their comfort zone. And that's why it's a hard one. But because of the remaining schedule in these teams and what they can't do, I still say that this team is a contender.
Let me get this straight, gentlemen. Let me get this straight. I've lost so much respect for y'all in a matter of minutes. So y'all are telling me this. Greg, if you and Marcellus were both in high school, let's take y'all back to high school like 35 years ago. When y'all were both, in high school, y'all going to tell me this. If you take an easy test, all of a sudden that makes you intelligent. If you take an easy test and you pass it, that makes you intelligent. That's what you gentlemen are doing. You all are saying, well, their remaining schedule's incredibly easy. So because their schedule's easy and they'll likely win those games, that makes them contenders. Gee, what about the fact that against playoff teams, they're 2-4? Now, when I hear contender, I'm talking about contention for a Super Bowl, something you, Greg Jennings, have. Now, unless you've lowered your bar substantially to say they're contending to make the playoffs, okay, we can have that conversation at a later time, but let's not have that on television when we're getting paid money to have legitimized conversations. But if you're telling me that they're in contention to win a Super Bowl because they get to play the Bengals and the Giants and the Jaguars and the Cowboys, no, sir. Passing an easy test does not make you any smarter. It does not make you a genius. And beating bad teams does not make you a contender. Come on, y'all.
No, Acho, I'm with you 100%. And I'm not going to try to navigate my way through this. They are contenders, in my opinion, to make the playoffs. As far as Super Bowl contention, no, sir. No, I'm with you there. I am 100% with you. But as far as getting into the playoffs, that's the start. And we all understand you have to get in to give yourself an opportunity. Do I feel like they will advance to the Super Bowl? No, I do not. I don't. I'm not going to even try to defend this Ravens team. They're not worth it.
I need you guys to understand that Acho just tried to put this conversation in his vacuum instead of what we talked about in totality, which is it's not just the easiest schedule remaining. It's the fact that they've already played the hardest schedule in the NFL. What does that mean? When iron sharpens iron. This is a team that will be battle tested when it finds itself in the playoffs this year, and it will be a team that has went through the wars and battles of an NFL season with this type of schedule. You know what that tells me? A team that last year that everyone thought that they knew and figured out and was like, put them in the AFC Championship game, if not the Super Bowl, at 14-2, but they were one and done. So admit what you know, and more importantly, admit what you don't know. Last year, you were wrong about this team. Potentially, this year, you could be wrong about this team, Acho, in terms of the way that they get there and what they could do when they get there.
Hey!
Huh?
You're not gonna lie on my takes from last year, sir.
I don't know what you were doing at the other night
last year.
Well, I don't know what you were thinking, but I know you didn't think they were one and done in the playoffs. I know that much. So sometimes
Greg, tell him watch his mouth. Tell him watch his mouth when he speaks to me, Greg.
Sometimes you got to know what you don't know. And in this situation, this is a team that's going to get itself healthy and hopefully find itself a groove once it approaches playoff time. What's going to allow them to get that good feeling, get some of that confidence, and get that groove? The easiest schedule remaining. So that's the only time I use that as consideration. It's going to allow them the opportunity to get into playoffs. No team in the AFC looks unbeatable, including Kansas City. We saw Pittsburgh get knocked off yesterday by the Washington football team. We saw Kansas City lose earlier in the year to the Las Vegas Raiders and have a bunch of close games. So let's not act like if they get into the playoffs, all of a sudden they can't make some hay.